Good morning, Rockets Nation. Welcome back to an exciting new episode of the Rockets Daily Podcast with your boy Meezy, aka Coach Omar, aka Happy Monday morning, guys. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Hope you saw all the stories that I saw. And I hope you are excited for one day closer to the NBA start of the season. Um, Before we get into that, top of the show, got to ask you guys, make sure you're dropping your comments, make sure you're hitting the likes and subscribes. Talk to me, guys. Love to hear from you guys. Love to see and hear what you guys are thinking, where your heads are at, because I am definitely a little skeptical of some of these Rockets moves that are happening or trade rumors or anything else Rockets related right now. I'm skeptical, right? Because at the top of the show, definitely going to be talking about trades that are potentially happening or possible trades that are happening over the weekend. Hall of Fame inductees, including Rockets legend Mike D'Antoni. Awesome guy. Gave a big shout out to James Harden, which I love. Made me a little teary eyed. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then just, some various happenings around the league, right? But again, at the top of the show, got to ask you guys, make sure you're dropping your likes and subscribes. Just talking to me, guys. Just talk to me in the comments and let me know where your heads are at. But let's get into it, right? I've introduced enough and asked you, pleaded with you guys enough to drop your comments and stuff. But no pressure or anything. Um, Top of the show, I want to talk to you guys about this, right? According to an SI article by what is the gentleman's name? Cookston. Hunter Cookston. Mr. Hunter Cookston is reporting, or potentially reporting, that the Rockets will have to make some, of course, we have to make some decisions regarding the roster. I think we have one more roster spot left open. So who are we going to fill that roster spot with, right? Now, Mr. Cookston goes on to talk about, um, if we're going to continue on with KD, which frankly, I'm getting sick and tired of that narrative or the media trying to spin that narrative. Um, and then, of course, Mr. Cookston goes on to talk about um, how Fred and Steven Adams got injured, so on and so forth. Which, look, we've moved on from that. Last season's over. No reason to revisit it. How we're still struggling to fill that last roster role. And then here's where Mr. Cookston loses me, right? And I think Mr. Cookson is quoting Eric J. Santos, who believes, another SI writer, Mr. Santos believes Houston could make a blockbuster move. Okay. By sending Jabari Smith Jr. and Fred Van Vliet to the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, New Orleans Pelicans. Get this, for Zion Williamson. Nah. Let me just go ahead and stop you there, big dog. Not happening. Not happening. Right? Nah. Mr. Santos, Mr. Cookston, y'all can just go ahead and stop right there. Okay? Because while, again, Mr. Cookston and Mr. Santos's defense is that we would have two, in quotes, high flying athletes in Amen Thompson and Zion Williamson, could be extremely, extremely difficult for opposing defenses to handle. Pairing that athleticism, more in quotes, with Durant's scoring ability could give the Rockets one of the most dangerous offenses in the league if everything comes together. Now, I get it. I understand. I understand the rationale and the logic there, but I'm not giving up Jabari Smith Jr. Not going to happen. If anything, I might give you Fred and maybe a first round pick, maybe two, maybe one for sure. But I'm not giving you Jabari Smith. Just for Zion? Nah. That definitely seems like a losing deal for Houston. And, at this point, I got to ask you guys, if you agree with this, tell me. If you disagree with us, hopefully you do. Not no pressure. I'm not trying to, bias anybody or like let my biases shine, but nah, I don't see it. I mean, Zion hasn't been Zion since I would say his year at Duke. I mean, when he tore through his shoes, you guys remember that whole controversy, Shoegate. I think the media dubbed it. I don't see that. Mm. Sure, he's explosive. Sure, he's great, but mentally and to some degree even physically, I wouldn't invest in that. I know the Pels I think still kind of maybe owe him a at least 100, right? They owe because I think his contract was for like 197 million, the extension that he got, and I, cap space notwithstanding, I mean, if we got rid of Fred and Jabari, that's what, not even. I mean, maybe cap space wise, but just on a pure no man, no man. Just it's a gut instinct telling me not to go with that trade. I wouldn't do it. But if you guys disagree with me, tell me. Tell me why. Tell me rationale. My rationale is I just don't believe in the Zion system. I don't think he would contribute as well as he could on maybe say the Pels. Um, I just don't think his athleticism is there. His weight has been fluctuating back and forth. We may have another Greg Oden situation on our hands, right? Number one pick or like a first round pick, just kind of going a little bust. And I don't know. I mean, I have my nephew's a Pels fan, and then one of my buddies at work, he's a Pels fan, and we talk about this stuff all the time. But Pels fans, Rockets fans, please feel free to weigh in. Tell me what you guys think, and happy to discuss. Happy to hear where your heads are at, and you know what the sitch is, right? Next thing I want to talk to you guys about is another article that I read. It talks about this ongoing concern and how much pressure is on Reed. How much pressure is just on Reed? Um, Look, man, Shep's only 22. What is he? 22, 23. Um, 22. I think he's going to be 23 this year. Is he already? I got to look if he's already turned 23. But he's young. We get it. He's young. His second year was yet last year. I think his rookie year even because the Rockets had kind of two-wayed him. His first year, I think he played a few NBA games, but Shep has a lot of growing to do, right? And they're comparing him to Marcus Smart and saying that they'll be fighting for minutes and how Ime and Marcus Smart have a bit of a history, and so you know Ime has this sort of, I don't want to say compulsion. Maybe it's I don't even want to call it a bias. That's a really strong word, but he has this tendency. How about that? He has this tendency to give Reed the business, like a lot of business. He's always like, really hard on Reed, um, trying to motivate him like a drill sergeant. I understand that, he's a young guy. He I just don't think that works, man. And we know Ime is not an offensive minded coach. He's probably harping on Reed for his defense because we talked about Reed's defense last week, right? And how the numbers on one of these sports blogs that I follow, they're talking about how Reed's constantly getting burnt at the top of the key, right? He's always getting burnt outside the lines, outside the 3 point line. Anytime he goes up against a defender, he gets burnt. They blow past him, and that's okay because I'm guessing what Reed is like. Okay, one of the guys in the paint, Capella, Steven Adams, um, LP, maybe even a men, right? I mean, one of these guys is going to be there to kind of maybe back him up, which that's fine in the game, but Reed's going to learn that. He's going to have to learn the hard way to get adjusted to to offenses. He's going to learn. He's going to learn. He's only 22. Give the man a break. I mean, splitting minutes, that's fine, but to say that there's going to be like a tiff between Smart and Reed, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I think this is definitely off-season pandering. I don't agree with it. If you guys read the same article, again, also on SI, um, by a gentleman, what is this gentleman's name? Mr. Tyler Watts. I mean, I was sort of being funny like Stewie Griffin, but um, Tyler Watts, pressure builds on Reed Shepard with Marcus Smart joining the Rockets. I don't think there's any pressure. I think that's all sensationalist reporting, but who am I? Who am I to say that? Like, you sure about that? Nah, I don't see it, man. I definitely don't see it. Um, so last thing I want to talk to you guys about before I get into the goofy sort of my favorite segment of the show, the Mount Rushmore, which is going to be pretty funny, I think. Um, Raphael Stone, right? Mr. Stone, he's been a part of the organization, which I forgot, kind of forgot about this. He's been with the organization since 2005, which is pretty impressive if you think about it. Like longevity for, um, personnel and everything like that. He was there with Chase Budinger. There's a comparison with him. He was there for the Kyle Lowry teams, the Kevin Martins, the Louis Scolas, um, Rafer Alston, Tracy McGrady, Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, Raphael Stone's been around for a while, man, and that's incredible. And he saw Harden get traded, which we got to give shout out to Daryl Morey. Maybe the Rockets bring back Daryl Morey. Let's see what we do with that. But I think he, after his exit, how he exited, I think you guys have heard me talk about that. Which, look, I'm not trying to get on the list here, but Daryl Morey, he may be blacklisted from the Rockets for a while, unless people can forget about that. But they talked about Raphael Stone basically cementing his legacy here in Houston, and I'm okay with that. Because he was there for the D'Antoni years, there for the Harden years, and you know D'Antoni D'Antoni's a good guy, right? That Rockets era with the Harden, I would say, I mean, aside from the T Mac Yao era, Hakeem and Clyde, of course, just the Hakeem era. Um, Raphael Stone he's an intelligent guy, right? He's a smart guy. I think he can definitely figure this out. He can definitely figure out this system. Um, if you guys haven't watched the Hall of Fame speeches from this weekend, definitely give him a shout. The D'Antoni speech was really good. So he's got a knack, or he's got a penchant at least for talent. Right now, what my biggest criticism of him is, and the word around my campfire with my groups is that, is he good at roster construction? Right, like your Sam Presties, like your Masai Ujiri's, like your Bob Myers. Um, I'd even give it a Dunleavy, who's Golden State's new guy right now, right? I mean, Steph has come out and said that Kuminga wasn't a bad pickup for them, right? Steph has come out and said that Jordan Poole was not a bad pickup for them, right? So roster construction definitely plays a part in how your team succeeds, right? And if it goes above that, if it goes above your pay grade, ownership, like when you're just personnel or management, that's fine, right? I don't think it's on Stone. I definitely think that we should be willing to pay at least some first or second apron, right? We should be able to go above that, and in order to do that, I think we got to bring in one more stud, right? DeRozan's still out there. Harden is still out there. I think he's an unrestricted. I got to look and double check. Unrestricted free agent. I think he may be a restricted free agent. Cleveland definitely would not let him go just like that. I'd be okay, giving Kuminga just a little bit, and then seeing how he goes. 1 year, how much do we have left? I think 15. We could at least give him 15, 10. 1 year, 10 million. See how you do, and if you do great, we can extend your contract. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Kuminga wouldn't be a bad pickup. I'd even try to poach. What's my boy's name? Wiggins. Wiggins might still be out there, right? I mean, there's other names out there besides Zion Williamson. There's better names out there that we could try to go after, try to poach, see what we can do. But at this stage of the episode, gotta ask you guys, drop your comments, hit your likes, hit your subscribes. Tell me what you guys think. Um, and hope I gotta run through this quickly. I gotta run through this quickly because I could talk about this all the time. Aside from sports, one of my favorite things to do is talk about movies, film. I'm all about entertainment, right? Um, IP is my bread and butter. So one thing that we were talking about in the group chat over the weekend was greatest football movies, right? One of my buddies is a huge football fan. I mean, I like football, college football more so than pro, but we are talking about football. We are talking about films, and got me thinking, what are the best basketball films that are out there, right? So I started doing my research, and there are definitely some films that I forgot about, right? General consensus is White Man Can't Jump is the greatest basketball film of all time. I would probably agree with that. Also on the list is like Hoosiers, Teen Wolf, um, Leo's movie, The Basketball Diaries, White Man Can't Jump. I love that movie. I think that's about the Knicks and James Dolan. Um, but that's a great movie. I love that movie. Blue Chips, with Nick Nolte and Shaq, and I think Penny's in that too. That's a great movie. Um, Hoop Dreams is good. Above the Rim with Tupac. A lot of these movies are from the '90s, so forgive me. Uh, Here's kind of a goofy movie, right? I mean, not a goofy movie, but Slam Dunk Ernest. You can't talk about basketball films without talking about any Ernest films, right? Space Jam, definitely on that list. Eddie, Whoopi Goldberg and the Knicks, also a great movie. Is it Celtic Pride or Celtic Pride? Celtic Pride, I think. Um, that was a kind of a funny movie. Space Jam is definitely up there. Six Man is up there. Like Mike, definitely up there. Some more heartfelt, basketball movies. He Got Game, that Denzel movie, awesome movie. Ray Allen's in it, awesome movie. Love and Basketball, very very touching, very touching. Some more silly basketball basketball movies. Joanna Man, um, also funny. But if I had to rank and then more recently, Uncle Drew, I think that was kind of a recent movie. And we're not talking like documentaries like 30 for 30s or like the Netflix doc with MJ, right? The Last Dance. No, no, no. We're not talking about those. We're talking about genuine Hollywood feature films and stuff, right? So funny list or joke. I mean, in totality, best basketball movies, at least from my opinion, I would say White Man Can't Jump, Space Jam, um, probably Coach Carter, which is good. Coach Carter's great. Um, Above the Rim, which is awesome. I mean, really good. And then five, I would either put He Got Game, or Love and Basketball, right? And then honorable mentions go to like Eddie, Six Man, um, I wouldn't put Airbud on that list. I'd put Slam Dunk Ernest on that before I put, you know, and then Basketball Diaries with Leo, and then Blue Chips, and then Air Up There. So, yeah, those are probably my favorite basketball movies. But if you guys get a chance to, definitely check some of those out. They're worth the watch. I think some of them may be on your streaming services. Um, if you're lucky enough to still own a DVD player or own any sort of media device that has a disc drive in it, definitely get a chance to check out some of these DVDs. They're pretty good. So probably a name you haven't heard in a long time, DVDs, right? But check them out, man. They're pretty good. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great start to your week. Hope you guys get a lot of good basketball news in and a lot of infotainment in today. Tune in tomorrow for another exciting episode, more Rockets news, more scheduling stuff, and just all things Rockets. But go Rockets! Hope you guys have a great week again, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Easy out. 3, 2, 1. Peace.